Good day, everyone, and welcome to another webinar in the series that we've been running since 2020. I do want to start by thanking you for taking the time to join us in the middle of your day, because we typically hold these sessions at 7 p.m. in the evening, which we've been doing for 4 years now. However, with our very special guests that are logging in from Portugal, we wanted to accommodate the time difference.
All opinions and views expressed by the speakers are not representative of views and opinions of RBC Dominion Securities, Inc. All information and opinions provided in this video are in good faith, but without legal responsibility.
To kick things off, I want to share a bit of a story on how we got here, because this webinar was initially discussed 2 years ago. And there's a backstory that even goes beyond that, which will sort of answer the question as to why an investment advisor at RBC is hosting a session about retirement in Portugal. It's a bit of a personal story that started in 2021, which was in the midst of the lockdown from the pandemic. And in the spring of that year, in 2021, my mother-in-law had unfortunately passed away. And because there was still flight restrictions at the time, my wife had no way of going to pay her last respects and to be with her family. So she was forced to watch that funeral on Zoom, which I think many can sort of relate to at that time, having to go through life events through Zoom. But on top of that, after her bereavement period, when she went back to work meant working from home. The kids were still at home doing school, young kids, and she felt a bit trapped under those four walls and needed something to help her cope. So she wanted to get out, and I could see that. So at that time, there were only a few countries that started to open up to visitors, and Belize was one of them. So we ended up there with our kids for a few weeks, which gave her space to heal and reflect, and just to be away from the routine and the cold as well, right? So that's sort of what started a catalyst toward this sort of conversation, because I started to then take a look at retirement elsewhere on a personal level, and also for people that I serve. So then in 2020, February of 2020, I did the very first webinar, which initially was to be about Belize, Costa Rica, and Portugal. Why Portugal? There was a client of mine who had shared how it was her dream to retire in Portugal. And she was, in fact, the one who introduced me to Graça. In the end, we felt it was going to be an injustice to talk about all three countries in 1 hour and to allocate only 15 minutes to Portugal. So we decided to defer Portugal to a future date. And in 2023, we ended up doing a webinar about retirement in the US. So now finally, here we are today with you joining. And, you know, the true story is, after the first webinar, one of the guests had a conversation with me and ended up visiting and purchasing property in Belize that we had discussed. This also happened when we did the webinar about the US with a guest speaking with me, and he contacted our panelists, got some support, got some advice, and was able to take action and bought a property in the US. So I firmly believe that all dreams start with a conversation. And I'm very curious if next year, this time, I'll be sharing a story about one of you attending today that, from a conversation with myself or a panelist and reviewing your goals, your retirement plan, and your resources in the context of what's feasible, including Portugal, then maybe eventually pulling the trigger. So let's start tonight's conversation. The agenda is going to be pretty tight, and we're going to start with a bit of a Slido poll to help the presenters get a sense of who's in the audience. I did reach out and speak to a number of you that are joining in advance and to get a sense, but I do understand that in some cases, at the last minute, people may not be able to attend, and there might also be folks that decided last minute to register. Now, we can all agree that there are many things to consider when making a decision related to another country and just moving in general. So I want to clarify that we won't be able to touch on every single aspect. We're not going to be able to go into the depths of tax questions, for example, on the Portuguese side or on the Canadian side, as it relates to if you've got property there and you're getting rental income. Healthcare is also important. We're not going to be able to go deep into that. But we can also agree that it's impossible, although it's impossible to cover everything here today, it's a first step. And it may require going deeper with your own unique circumstances by speaking with me or one of our panelists separately. 10 years from now, someone might be wondering, how did you end up in Portugal or in Belize or in a cottage in Ontario, wherever your dream is? But they may not have realized that it started with an idea and conversations a year before that. So without further ado, if you're joining this webinar for the first time, my name is Orlando and I'm an advisor with RBC DS Securities. I've been in the industry for a number of years and I support my clients with a number of different things: investments, retirement planning, risk management, estate planning. But I get excited when I talk about these things, where we're really taking things from the Excel spreadsheet and we're really looking at dreams and how that ties in with their family. So I'm going to ask you to, one, bear with us, be gracious with our panelists, understand that, you know, they're logging in from Portugal, you know, there's a time difference. There might also be, again, English is not the first language for them, so I want you to also be gracious during the Q&A. And we'll get to the poll right now. So that is the QR code, if you'll be so kind. Go to slido.com and you can input 1204363 and we'll get the first question started for this poll. So question number one, have you been to Portugal before? You'll still see the QR code on the left. So far, majority have been to Portugal, and I can see the head nods from our panelists. This is helpful for them to get a sense as they're talking about the different regions in Portugal. So I'll give it a little bit more time. Okay, 60% have been. Okay, wonderful. Might be getting close to 50-50. Wow, okay. All right. There's still a few people voting on that one. Yeah. Okay. So not everyone for sure. Let's keep it at that. And the next question, are you considering part-time snowbird into Portugal or a full-time move? Out of curiosity. And I can always go back and reference these votes as we're going through. So 75 more part-time, in and out. The spring and summers are wonderful here. I would say. Winters, no comment. Although I did go skiing recently. Okay, wonderful. So 73, that's a pretty a large number there. And the final question, which of the following topics would you like most focus to be on today? We're going to touch on all of them, but just out of curiosity for those joining, where would you like to see most focus? Okay. Votes are still coming in. All right. And sometimes the assumptions are not the reality, and I always try to, accept that. I think we chose a good order then. We are going to start with the real estate side, then we get into the legal aspects, and then we get into the financing. So without further ado, I want to introduce and to welcome, our two first initial speakers. We're going to talk about the real estate side. So please, Graça and Miguel, please introduce yourself. Let everyone know about yourself and get into your presentation. Oh, let me just give you control again. You've got it. Yeah. So share it again.
Sorry. So thank you,
Yeah,
and
no
hello everybody. Let me just try and get this going. Let's see if this works. I think it will be fine. Okay.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So in Portugal at the moment, my name is Graça Caprichoso. That is how it's pronounced, Graça. We are at the moment near the Lisbon region, right next to Cascais. We are located right between Cascais and Sintra, which is about 20 minutes away from Lisbon. Thank you so much, Orlando, for your kind invitation. And also a big thank you to Michelle, who introduced us so many moons ago. And finally, here we are. So thank you so much for that. I saw in the poll that so many of you have not come to Portugal yet. So I would like to just give you a warning. Don't come because you're going to fall in love. Okay, so that is one of my mottos. If you do come, you're going to fall in love immediately. And I know Michelle must be laughing right now because she knows it's absolutely true, because I said this to her and I know she loves Portugal.
She didn't listen. She didn't listen.
She did, yeah. No, she didn't. She didn't.
And then she came.
So we want to get into a few of the subjects that we prepared for you today. And oops. Okay, so here we are, all of us. Just a brief intro. I have been in real estate for 20 years. I also opted to live in Portugal because I lived all over the place. That was my father's job, was moving all over the place. I won't get into that right now. But I did decide to live in Portugal too. So this was an option for me. And this is the country that I chose to live in. I think that's important for me to say. And I absolutely love to live here. So I'm going to get into my presentation right now. And some of the subjects over here, so security, education, the great logistics, the lifestyle, healthcare, low prices, the culture and the food, experiences, and global. So Portugal is a developed country, okay? We have still great security. We have a lot of people moving to Portugal, especially from Brazil, Venezuela, who look at Portugal as a very safe country to live in. And actually in the Peace Index, we are very well quoted. Education, obviously, we have great American schools here, great international schools everywhere at the moment, because we did have very few, and suddenly with all these foreigners coming into our country, we obviously had to move fast and create so many new international schools everywhere, big international schools, so that is a guarantee. Then let me go into the lifestyle a little bit. Portugal has great weather, so our lifestyle is obviously amazing. Because we do have almost 300 days of sunshine in almost everywhere in Portugal, almost everywhere in Portugal. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And so obviously we are on the chart, let's say, for this great weather, which brings us a very healthy lifestyle. Everyone is outdoors. It's pretty amazing, our lifestyle in Portugal. Healthcare is very good. It is considered also cheap. It is also considered cheap healthcare. It's not very expensive, which is also very good. The low prices, food here is also still low, very low priced. The culture, obviously, we have great culture. We have an enormous richness in history in Portugal. And so it's absolutely amazing. Anywhere you go, You will find monuments and history, and we're so rich in all of that. And the experiences, obviously, we have everything over here. There is nothing that you will look for that you will not find in Portugal. So all in all, come on over, like the Jamaican ad so many years ago, you know, come on over, we're expecting you. That's more or less what we say over here too. So Portugal, I did this little map for you. This is Portugal. You can see the north center, Lisbon, Alentejo, and the Algarve. I put the little American and Canadian flag because when I did look up where Canadians do prefer to live in Portugal, it was actually in the big cities. In the north, in Porto, in Lisbon, and then in the Algarve. Okay. In the other regions, what I did realize is that it was a very specific type of person who looked for something that's a little bit more calm in the rural areas or way up north, which actually most Canadians wouldn't even mind because it's cold, but for you it's not that cold. It's pretty mild. And then obviously in the Algarve, where so many foreigners choose to live because of the fantastic weather. Normally in the Algarve, the temperature will be on average about 20, 23 degrees centigrade. Okay, so it's very good weather. Oops, wait, I just went. Okay, so prices. I know that most of you will want to hear about how much it will cost to live in Portugal. So in the Lisbon district, I put the average price and the evolution from December to January. So as you can see in Lisbon, the prices have not gone down yet. We are noticing that they're stabilizing, but we haven't gone down on prices yet. And so you will find that on average, the price purchase will be 5,516 euros. But let me tell you that this is the average price, because we do have some locations right in the middle of Lisbon that will go up to about 10, 12,000 euros a square meter. It's expensive, it's prime locations, and you will find that the houses are actually bigger. They also have this great architecture, and so that's why obviously the prices will go up a little bit. The rentals will be about 21 per square meter, 21 euros per square meter, but also in prime locations, obviously it can go up. It's very difficult to find good locations for rent at the moment in globally all of Portugal, because we've been so, sought after to come and live here. And so people normally will rent first and buy later, but it will be difficult to find somewhere because it's a very hot market for rentals, and things will probably be off market in 1, 2, 3 days. In Cascais, which is the other region that this is close to my heart, because this is the location that I actually work most with. It's called the Riviera in Portugal, and it's the Cascais district. As you can see, the prices are up a little bit because we are by the sea. There are great views, and it's a very picturesque little town or villa, and the prices did go down a little bit this year. But as you can see, the prices are still very elevated. Okay, so you wanted to ask a question?
Yeah, that price range for the purchase, so in euro, for that purchase, is that 600,000 euro? Just want to make sure I'm understanding the
6,000 per square meter.
Oh, per square meter. Okay, yes, that's a square meter. Okay, got you.
Okay.
I see. Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay.
And I
And
think
the
we should rent.
rentals are also a little bit more expensive.
Yes.
And they will vary, obviously. If you're near the sea, obviously the price will go up incredibly. Okay, so normally for a rental property here in Portugal, they will ask you to pay 2 or 3 rents in advance. And normally foreigners that don't have any stability in Portugal, they'll probably pay per year. Okay, they'll pay a year in advance. Okay, I don't know if that's important, but I think so. The Sintra district also.
I'll probably add one thing because a lot of people go by square foot.
Yeah.
1 square meter is 10 square foot, just for the Canadians, just for the size wise, easier for them to sort of get. So 1 square meter is 10 square foot, just for everyone on the call.
Okay, this slide, I just saw that it's not actually right, so I apologize for that. But the purchase in the Sintra region, which is right next to, it's very historical, it's very rich in history, and the price range would be about 2,500 per square meter. The price range is way lower. And that is why so many people do choose to live in Sintra in detriment to Cascais, because it's actually cheaper. Okay, so you can see the price range here. The rentals are also 13 per square meter, 13 euros, which is about half the price of Cascais. Okay, but keep in mind that something that does come up good in the market will go pretty fast. So up north, we have the Oporto district, and the Oporto district is also cheaper than obviously the Lisbon and Cascais especially, but it is also in great evolution. It can go from 3,400 per square meter, and the rentals are also higher, 16 per square meter. Okay, I will give Orlando these slides so that he can then send them off to everyone who is participating in this. I didn't want to come on and show you houses. I wanted to give you an average price so that you have a notion of exactly what type of price range we are practicing here in Portugal. I put in the Guarda district. It's up north, more to the right. It is somewhere that we have noticed that people have been looking a lot for, because the price range, as you can see, is very low. So I decided to put this in to show you that there's not much distance from Oporto to Guarda, but the price range is completely different. Okay, obviously we're talking about very small towns that don't have the movement that a big city has. The big cities here are insanely vivid, and we didn't even find an average price for rentals. So it must there's so few rentals going on. And normally they're not even registered here in Portugal. That does happen also. And so what happens here is that we do have a price average for buying a property in these sort of locations goes down so much. Okay. And then we have Évora district. And this is in the middle of the country. It's the weather here is normally also very good. It's very historical also. It's more like a rural part of Portugal, and the price range also is much nicer, let's say, much friendlier than the big cities. I just put that in here, although we do know that most Americans and Canadians will not look for this type of location. Faro district is the Algarve, it's usually known as the Algarve. Okay, it's called the Faro district. The prices here also do have great fluctuation, because we have areas like Vila Moura, Quinta do Lago, which are prime locations, and the prices go up so much in these locations. They're beautiful properties that are sold to people like Madonna, people like so many. Christian Labotin has bought property in the Évora district, which is cheaper. And he has an amazing hotel called the Vermelho Hotel, and he is doing so well. He bought another property, very characteristic architectural and antique property, and he's doing another beautiful hotel here. So it's absolutely amazing. You should take a look at that. The Faro district in the south is a little bit cheaper depending on the location that you do look for, but and it's hot weather all year. Okay, so that's the place to go if you want to have the Florida of Portugal. So the Albufeira parish, which is the location that most people will look for. There are a lot of British people living in Albufeira. Actually, the first language in Albufeira when you go is probably English. And the prices here go up a little bit because it's so sought after. And but it's a great location also. Okay, so in the south of Portugal, great weather, always beautiful beaches, absolutely amazing. And you can actually just wear slippers all year. The process of buying a house in a property in Portugal is obviously determined by your budget, obviously. We will recommend that you find a real estate agent that actually speaks English, that can accompany you and take care of all the steps that you have to. Be aware, please, that Portuguese real estate agents are not obliged to have a real estate license. So you have to choose wisely. Okay, so this is a good piece of advice that we're gonna leave here. Make sure that everyone that is working with you is trustworthy. Make sure also, go ahead.
Quick question, if you don't mind, something I just noticed on a question.
Sure.
They wanted to clarify the rentals, if the frequency, were those prices per month, per week? What was the rental cost?
Per square
Frequency.
meter also.
Per month, right? Per month.
Yes, per month. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
per month. Okay,
Per month.
wonderful.
Yes. Okay. The legal condition of the house, obviously, I'll let Artur speak about that, but obviously we have to be very careful with that also, especially because in Portugal, this new law came out in January, which allows us to buy property without having the proper licenses. But this is a process that has to be very well analyzed. So once again, make sure that you choose the real estate agent and that you do have legal advice in Portugal to buy the property. When you sign the legally binding purchase agreement, do not sign it if your loan isn't approved, because there is no way that you're getting your money back. So please be careful. Once again, have legal advice with you. The deposit or the deposit is normally 10% here in Portugal. Very rarely you will pay more than that. When you have all the paperwork, you will do the final deed, obviously, and you will pay the remaining balance and all the associated taxes. We're going to give you some heads up about taxes. Not too deeply, but when you do have the presentation with you and review it, you will find that it will be very, very easy for you to figure out how much you're going to pay. Yes, so we did put this in because of the preference from the City Hall. This is something that in Portugal you have to do with all properties, is ask inform City Hall that you're going to sell, the price you're going to sell it for, and City Hall may prefer to buy it. Okay, that is something that in Portugal is happening a lot, especially in the region of Cascais, Sintra, and many times in Lisbon too. Okay, so City Hall may decide to buy the property when you do put this up for sale. Okay, so you have to be careful with that. Again, legal advice. The taxes. So very fast, and the property taxes. I'm going to let Miguel talk about that. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. So.
Hi, my name is Miguel Caprichoso, and I'm a real estate broker since 20 years ago from Remax branch too. So I'm going to show you little things about taxes. The best thing that all we like to pay taxes, doesn't we? And this is the average taxes and the prices that you'll pay buying a house in Portugal. Okay, the municipal property transfer taxes, and you have the stamp taxes, that is 0.8, and the other you have here an idea for the prices that you have to pay. For example, if you buy something about 100,000 euros, it's 0% taxes, okay? But if you buy something, if you buy something about 200,000 or something, the taxes will be around 10,000 euros, because the taxes will manage between 5% and 10%. It depends on the prices, the rates of the average prices that you are buying the houses. Okay, so 50%. Next, for example, here you have an idea of 45,000 euros house that they pay 27,000 in taxes. It is the transfers taxes from 23,000 something, and then 1 million what you have to pay. This is the prices average that you pay on buying something. Okay.
Is that tax and legal fee combined, or just a tax portion only? Those numbers right there. 20.
Just the tax.
Okay. Okay.
Just the tax. Just the tax.
We'll get Arturo to talk about the legal part.
Yeah. All the part of the business inside and everything with the lawyer and everything. It is different. This is the taxes for the state.
Okay.
Or Portugal. Just don't question Portugal, because Portugal is the best country in the world.
No bias. No bias.
Yeah, okay. For example, now we have a system, the taxes for origin for non-habitual residents. In Portugal, you can have 20% a fixed rate, or in a period of 10 years. Attention, because recently the government has fallen down in Portugal, and we have now a new,
regime.
until the 10th of March, no one knows very well what is going to happen, because they say that these taxes will finish, but they are starting something new. So we have to wait. We hope that something new will emerge, and we'll have reduced taxes and everything, because they have to make systems even for Portuguese people that's coming down, or foreigners that are coming for Portugal. Until the 10th of March, we don't know very well.
Okay.
Okay. Capital gains, for example, when you buy a house in Portugal, you have the normal. If you are earning money, if you are winning some money. For example, if you buy some house for 300,000 and you sold it for 350, you'll get 50,000 euros value, more value. What it works in Portugal, that the half of that money will be on your IRS, and then it depends on the taxes that you pay in IRS, but it will be more or less for 20%. It depends. If you have more gains on that, more. If you are earning more money on something else, but this is more or less the taxes that you pay in Portugal. Okay.
So,
Wonderful.
Arthur, this is you now. Orlando, can I ask you to turn off my mic? I can't seem to do it. I'm sorry, and I am afraid to make any noise. Maybe mine and Miguel. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Hello all. My name is Arthur. I'm a lawyer in Portugal for a few years. I'm a lawyer since 1999. I work a lot with real estate investment and support for business and companies, but all kinds of entrepreneur. My office is in Parede, it's near Cascais. I can share with you some small presentation. I don't have all those fantastic presentations that Graça and Miguel had. They all said everything almost. They left the boring things to me, but let me just see if I can.
Important. A lot of folks are curious around the visas and those changes.
Yes.
That's a key part that they're really curious about.
This is for Arthur.
And yeah,
Okay.
and the changes that they heard.
About these issues, if you look in the internet, you'll be finding a lot of references to the visa and to the golden visa. My advice is, first thing is to look for legal advice, of course, but not to go for a golden visa, because with these first things we don't know, because we'll be having a government change, and they were already talking about closing the golden visa program. So my advice is not to move forward. I still have some applications, but they are not from the year 2023, because since 2023 mainly we don't know for sure what's going to happen. It may be a good option after the election that we'll have on March, because I think the right-wing parties will win, and then I think that will maybe be a good option again. For now, because we have to talk now about what you have for sure now, and my advice is for you to go for the D7 visa. It's a good application for those that want to live in Portugal. They don't want to have a lot of expenses, and I can give you some guidelines about this. This is something that you'll have to get your criminal record, your passport with valid for 3 months. I believe everybody has that. You have to sign a declaration to allow Portuguese authorities to see your criminal records, and you have to get a travel insurance, and you have to prove that you're in a legal situation in your own country. Then you'll have to get your criminal certificate from your own country, and all these documents have to be certified with the apostille and with the translation. Okay, this is not hard to get, and about if you want to live in Portugal, this is maybe the best option for now. Maybe you'll have different options, but for now I would not advise to go for the golden visa. It's not a good option. I believe it's not even an option, although you may find on the internet some people saying or trying to sell this idea, but I don't think this is a good option for now. Okay, mainly this is what I can tell you all about the visa. Of course, you'll have to make proof that you
And that's
have
called
income.
is it a D7 you're referring to, right?
Yes, the D7 visa.
Okay, so for folks, D7 visa is sort of the one that Artur is referring to, not
Yes,
the golden visa.
it's different, because the golden visa, it's almost like if you get Portuguese nationality. You'll be allowed to move all over Europe with the golden visa. It's better. If you ask me, it's also more expensive, because you'll have to make some investments in Portugal, but I believe this is also the idea of this meeting. So that would not be a problem. But the thing is, the golden visa, at least for now, maybe in a few months, it's a good option again. I would not advise, because you would be spending money in fees and in taxes without knowing if you'll be able to take the proceeding to the end. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's a better option, but because it's this almost the same thing that you get a EU ID card. Okay. You don't need, if you have a golden visa ID card, if you just want to catch a flight from Portugal to Spain or to Italy, you just need your ID card. You don't need a passport because you're in EU area. But I don't advise that option for now because it's uncertain what we'll have after the election. Okay.
Good point. And because you're on the ground and as the expert, I think that's the value people are getting from sort of one, not what they're just sort of finding in different chat rooms. So that's a good advice.
Yes, that's it. That's it, Orlando.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Wonderful.
Just some more details.
Yeah, probably one more, and then we'll go to the credit. I'm just looking at the time, and because I think all of this will give some chance for Q&A.
Two more details. You just have to prove that you have income or you have a way to live in Portugal without needing social security. That's what you have. For instance, you have to prove that you have some amount of money in your bank account. It's not much, and you'll have to prove. Or you have to prove that, for instance, you have an income in your own country. That's easy to show. And then you'll be needing, of course, to show that you have a place to live in Portugal because you have rented one or because you have bought one. These are the main issues. And I believe then if someone is interested, I'm available for all the explanations necessary if you want. If you just need some advice, some general information, you may contact me. I will be delighted to help you with this. Okay.
Right. Thank you for explaining that, Artur. And so let's say that somebody has started a process, they've rented a place because they could do that. They've proven they've got a place to stay, they've rented. They've gotten your assistance in getting the D7 visa, not as expensive. They now are living there for a while, may decide, okay, I've now tasted it and I want to proceed with going and more committing. So they want to go beyond just dating Portugal. They want to marry Portugal and buy a property, commitment, right? Get that, put that ring on it. Financing. So Anna, one of the things that I think for many Canadians, they're not, in most places, they typically are not able to get financing. If they go to a Caribbean island, except the US, where they can get financing in the US because there's so much overlap, even RBCs in the US. But in Portugal, as a Canadian, can they get financing from a Portuguese bank to buy a property?
Can you put the micro to Graça, please?
Oh, okay. 1 second. Sorry. 1 second, Graça. Okay. Wonderful. There you go. Graça, you are unmuted. So there should be a request coming to you, Graça, to unmute. Just accept it. Allowed me to mute you, Graça, but now I'm trying to unmute. 1 second.
Okay. So
okay,
I had to leave the presentation because
Yes.
there's something, the Mac, it's a Mac and the Mac, you know what happens with Mac. So let me just, this is the presentation. Okay, let me see if I can go back to, okay, so I went back to it.
Yeah.
Okay,
wonderful.
so I would just like to add to what Artur said, that we do have many people coming over from USA and Canada on the D7 visa, but please do get legal advice on this. Artur is always available, and that is something that you should think about. when you did the poll also, one of the things that I did notice was that people weren't so interested in getting the financing. But after I talk about this very briefly, okay, very briefly,
just very briefly,
you're going to find out that you'll probably be able to get financing in Portugal. And this is something that you have to look at. So we are credit intermediaries, and so we are regulated and supervised by the Bank of Portugal, which is obviously the legal thing to do. Okay, so these are the main banks that we do work with in Portugal, which is all of them, all the main banks in Portugal. And these are the procedures. Okay, so one of the things that you will have to do right away is obviously get a tax number, and that can be done through the lawyer also. The rest of the documentation we can also, I can put it in the presentation so that you know exactly what you'll have to have, okay, so that we can go over this very fast. So this is basically the documentation that they will be asking for. It's not too much. You would normally have to get it translated, right, Anna? We have to get it translated? Oh, no, in English we don't. Banks will accept it, right? Anna, banks will accept it in English, right? Okay, she's not unmuted, but I did hear her in the other room saying yes. Okay. These are the numbers in Portugal. These are the documents also for US. And then let me go by this as, okay, this is what I think will be interesting for you. So foreigners with temporary residence in Portugal will be able to get between 70 to 80% of a mortgage.
Okay, loan to value.
Which is very good. You will agree. Okay.
Yes.
So it can go up to 80%. It does depend obviously on the conditions, but if you do have the minimum conditions, probably 70%. Okay, so this is for Canada and US. Okay, so that is also important. Then residents abroad, you can see over here on the right, I also put a little round thing on the 70 to 80. And that we have a lot of Canadian and US citizens that do their mortgages with us, and they can get up to 70%. Okay, so they will not have to use their savings. They can actually do a loan with us. Okay, so I think that will be something that people can look forward to.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, so because Orlando is in such a hurry, and so we.
You know what? It's the lunchtime for folks. I want to make sure they get their
Okay, we will get this presentation out to you. It's very simple to read. I think it has all the information condensed in it.
Yes.
So all in all, what we want to say again is choose Portugal. And for those of you who haven't come, don't, because you're going to fall in love. Remember this. I should have registered this phrase of mine. Don't come, you will fall in love. And thank you so much.
Wonderful. Let me see if there's any questions for the remaining few minutes we've got. And while let me just share my screen, because there were some questions that were coming in. Yes.
Some people were asking about the amounts needed for the D7 visa. It's unless they change these amounts with new laws, but for now you just need around an income of 1,500 euros, and the bank account has to have 12 times the minimum wage in Portugal. Okay, which is around 10,000 euros. Okay, but I can check if there was any changes. I don't believe they had, but these are the amounts. Okay, so it's not a huge amount. It's not like the golden visa where you need way more money. You need much huger investment. This is not the case for the D7.
Yes.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So that you get an idea. But I will be available.
For any
Some
other
people
questions?
also asked, what's the time to get a fiscal number? Well, after submitting all the documents, usually in 1-2 weeks we can get the fiscal number. The main issue is not that, is that they will have to have a fiscal representative in Portugal until they have their own established their own residence in Portugal. Because if not, let me just say this, I have some American clients, and some they bought real estate here, and one of them they don't have their residence in Portugal, they still live in US, and I'm their fiscal representative. Okay, that's even having, which means that even if you buy or rent, if you're not living in Portugal in a permanent way, you'll be needing a fiscal representative. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to give these more clarifications.
Yeah, and I'm looking at both. In case anybody wants to ask outside of the Q&A section, you can raise your hand. Let me just read any other question. One thing I'd mention as well, we had a lot of folks on the call today, and I think it's fair for me to say that, you know, everybody may have been joined for a different reason, right? At different stages in life. Some are also different stages in their career. But I do think that if I'm going to make a guess about the folks that joined today on their lunch break, it kind of means to me that you're the type of person that takes action, and the type of individual that likes to hold on to the steering wheel, not just be in a passenger seat. So, you know, this is an opportunity to continue taking action and reach out to us to have that conversation. And the only thing I'd say on my end is that, you know, just be aware when you do try to sort of schedule a time, I'm away for the next few weeks, so it's mostly March that I'll be back to be able to kind of connect with individuals. But, you know, this has been a wonderful conversation, and, you know, we're not necessarily that everybody should pack up and move to Portugal, but that you can, right? Oh, I saw a question, Emiliana, if you raise your hand, I can unmute you. Let me just see here. Artur, do you want? What are your thoughts on that one?
Okay. I think the main worry was that you have to do everything without getting any risk with your money, right? So
Yes.
for the Airbnb, I don't think it's really not a good option, because you have to make proof that you have a permanent residence, and that's not the case of an Airbnb. So I would suggest you to make a rental agreement, and so that you don't take any chances, maybe the best option is to make a rental, how to say in English, a promissory rental agreement. Establish a rental agreement that will start in this, for instance, you want to come over in May. You make a rental agreement to start in May. Okay, then you'll it's harder to look for it rather than an immediate rental agreement, of course, but that's the best option. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if I managed to explain you this clearly.
You just have to have a registered contract, and you have to have the receipts for the contract. I just did this for an American today, and we did have to have her contract registered, and she does have to have the official receipts to be residing in Portugal.
Yes, that's what I was telling. With the rental agreement, you have that, but you have to get the registration.
For Airbnb, I think the permit is for 30 days. So you can't go maximum 30 days. You can't go more than 30 days.
Yeah, the rental agreement would be better. But that's a very good question. And
please note one thing. I don't know if you look for it, you have a lot of information about, but The documents for the D7, they are submitted in your own country. They are not submitted in Portugal. You have to submit them in the Portuguese embassy or the Portuguese consulate, okay? So my help for you on that case is to help you prepare everything, and with the proper translations and with all, if necessary, with the apostille. That's my help for you, okay? Because they have to be submitted in your own country.
At the consulate here. Okay, good question.
So Orlando, I did see there were so many questions. Is it okay that you get the questions out to me? And
correct. And we're going to respond to them that way. Like the ones that were written, we'll do that.
Ana, podemos ajudar? Anna has to unmute.
Can we unmute? And one thing I'd probably just add high level, even without sort of comparing the rates. For a lot of folks, it might be a matter of tapping into other capital. So liquid capital, they may not want to do it at that time. So you having the option to not have to liquidate your investments, not have to realize a tax impact on your portfolio if you're going to have to pull from that. You know, you could borrow. Some clients do that. They'll borrow against a property here. It's not secured against the Portuguese property. So it really gives one an option to not tie up too much capital on one thing, just not ignoring rates and exchange. Those are some of the reasons why folks would at least like to know. So you're now discovering that you have that option, and then, you know, you may approach it differently, right? And maybe you'll decide that, okay, you're not going to deploy 100% capital. Maybe you'll deploy 50%, right? Right. That I think is powerful. Options to me is always power.
Yeah, well,
and you compare the terms as well.
That's what I was going to say, that you do have to compare the terms, and everything that is done is obviously case by case. Okay, so we can get it's free of charge. We don't charge anything to get your process analyzed. So if you want to get things out to me, we will tell you what documents you have to send out, and we can do the analysis absolutely free. Okay, this is something that we do for free. Okay, so even if you do not buy the property with us, this is a free analysis for you. Okay, so feel free if you do want this. It's no problem whatsoever for us. We're actually very fast in responding, and so we can get out the information for you. It's not a problem. Okay, so get things out to us. We will analyze that for you. Okay, and you know, we're certified by the Bank of Portugal, so this is something that is very important for us to say. Do not be handled by people that do not have this type of license like we do. Okay, so that is something that you do have to look out for, but we will be pleased to look at this for you. Orlando, if you get the questions all out for me, I will answer them in our presentation, and when you send the presentation, we can answer briefly the questions that I've seen so many that I would love to answer everybody.
Yeah, and that's what I'll do. So here's what I'll commit to everyone. I will be, one, thank you for joining. You know, I've been doing this for now going on 4 years, which is a way to empower and educate clients and the community so that you can execute with, you know, making informed decisions. We'll put together all of the questions and the deck to send that out. You'll get that, and as well the information to contact myself, to contact the panelists here. When you go to my section here, if you are going to schedule a meeting, this is what it will look like, just on that tab here on my email signature. And just note, my schedule is more open starting March. I'm taking a little bit of time next week. So with that, I want to, one, bid farewell to everyone. I'm just, you know that you're at work still for majority. Maybe some of you are retired. And that, you know, the individuals that I'm able to help are individuals that some of my clients are retired, some are working, you know, pre-retirees. And, you know, for some, it will be Portugal. For some, it will be elsewhere. But at least you're starting to look at these things sooner rather than later. That, to me, is the most important thing. you know, to not let time creep up, that 10 years from now, you have no idea where the time went, and now you're starting to sort of explore. So with that, I want to thank you all for joining from Portugal. Kind of wish I was sort of there doing this webinar versus here, but anyways, we're supposed to have a snowstorm here in Toronto. You know, it is what it is. And we'll be in touch. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful.
Thank you so much for your time. And
Thank you so much.
it was lovely. Thank you so much. And please feel free if you would like to contact me. Orlando will give you my contact.
Yes.
There's no problem whatsoever. Just reach out and I'll be glad to help. I see somebody's coming in like 3 weeks. If you need any help or any advice, don't worry. I'll give you all the advice you need. You're very welcome here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
I also saw so many unanswered questions.
Yes, we're gonna pull together.
Yes, I will say the same thing that Graça said. I'm available for all the questions you have. No charges, don't worry. If you decide to move forward with my help, you're welcome. If not, just don't worry about that. Please just send me your questions. I will try to help you in every way. And it's even preferable if you send an email or something like that. Orlando, please feel free to share my email, because it's even preferable, because some issues I just need to see the law to make sure I give the correct answer. So it's preferable that way. I'm available for you too, and welcome. I hope to say welcome for you to coming over to Portugal one day. Okay.
All right.
So all in
Thank you,
all, what we
everyone.
want to say is that we're available, and we are here to help you in any way we can. So, you know, honestly, it's no trouble whatsoever. And thank you, Orlando, again for your time too.
And it will be a great story for me to say that somebody from this call ended up going, visiting, renting, and then probably pulling the trigger. So this time next year, I shall see. Take care, guys.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.